sacred tree of light.
The Dead Dunes is a vast desert by the ocean of chaos. If you've got faith in your own strength, it might be a place of romance and a little adventure. But travel it from end to end, all you'll find is more sand. Well, that and ancient ruins from who only knows when, I guess. There's a settlement in the oasis, but it is said to be home to wild bandits. The rumors say that they're in search of some legendary treasure called the Holy Clavis. One more thing about the Dead Dunes. It's better to visit at night. There are less monsters than during the day. And it won't be so torturously hot either. Don't forget that. You can get to the Dead Dunes from South Station.
This is Luxarian's very own South Station. The trains here can take you to either of two locations, the Wildlands or the Dead Dunes. The Wildlands is a vast expanse of nature, green as far as the eye can see. In the Dead Dunes, you won't find much besides sand. However, many venture out there in hopes of finding great treasure buried deep in the ruins. If you're looking to travel to the city of Yusnan, I'm afraid you'll have to use the other station. Please head to Luxarian's North Station and board the train there. Go ahead and board the train.
This stop, Dead Dunes.
I'm afraid that this is your stop. Lightning. It doesn't look like anyone else got off here but you.
Well, this is a shock. A tourist?
You could say that.
Hate to break it to you, but there's nothing worth seeing in this desert. There are some ruins out there, but they ain't the type that any decent folks should go to.
Why not? Are they dangerous?
They're just breeding grounds for monsters. Well, that and home to some legendary treasure or something. The vessel that'll summon the souls of the dead and open the door to the afterlife. They call it the Holy Clavis.
Summon souls, you said? That's promising.
Bunch of nonsense if you ask me. Not that the bandits or the Order will ever give up on it, though. They've been searching for that thing forever. I don't recommend diving into those ruins for some fairy tale. Not if you don't want those bandits on your back for invading their territory.
Thanks for the warning.
Why don't you find those bandits' headquarters and see what they know? I'm sure they'll have information about the ruins and Clavis. This is just a guess, but I would imagine that most of the people living here in the desert are bandits in search of treasure. After all, why would anyone choose to live in a place like this without a good and lucrative reason? to that clavis for you. Apparently, it's an artifact that's thought capable of drawing the souls of the dead to it. That's about all we know. It seems the Order has been trying hard to recover the relic. In recent years, they've dispatched several parties of seculars to the desert.
But they haven't had any luck, right? It seems like the Order isn't the only one interested either. The bandits also want it.
Yes, the bandits that call this desert home. They make a living by taking what they can from the ruins and selling their finds.
Are they bandits or grave robbers? I don't know how much this clavis is worth, but if it can be used to gather souls, it sounds pretty handy for a savior.
Yes, it's the only artifact of its type in the world. If the Order is willing to spend so many resources searching for it, it's probably worth finding. The settlement nearby is probably the bandit gang's base. They should know something about the clavis, considering how much time they've spent in the ruins. But be careful if you go in there. Light. Do you see that tall structure? The archaeologists believe that it once served as a lighthouse. It's said that this place was once a vast ocean, but the water's all dried up, and so the lighthouse has lost all meaning.
Has it though? It could still shine out upon the sea of chaos, or show travelers the way. I think that light is needed more than ever in this kind of desert.
You may be right about that. Light can bring people hope, just like you do, Lightning. There's at least one settlement here in the desert. Hopefully, you'll be able to rest up there. But it seems like it's the bandits' base. They may not exactly welcome a stranger like you.
Well, considering how they've been tracking me, I don't think I'll need to introduce myself.
So, you noticed. Yes, it looks as though they've been keeping an eye on you ever since you stepped foot in their desert.
Let 'em. We'll meet face to face soon enough.
This is a branch of the famous Tobias's store you know and love. You do know Tobias. He is the preferred merchant of the great bandit gang Monoculus. Out here in the desert, he's in a class of his own.
The bandit settlement is just over there. You've had to take quite the long way around, haven't you? If it weren't for that sandstorm, you would have been here in no time.
Time to head back to chaos. You can't break me down. Is this the Arithometer? It doesn't seem to be working.
You're nearly to the settlement now. I'm sure that you're looking forward to a bit of rest. But I wouldn't let your guard down if I were you. I would guess that everyone living there is part of the bandit gang.
So don't be surprised if I wake up at knife point, is that it? Fine by me. It'd give me an excuse to beat some information out of them.
You'd use yourself as bait? Just for that? I guess that's just like you. But don't let yourself get hurt, okay?
Hey, what's with the sourpuss? You don't have a complaint about my fine assortment now, do you?
It's good enough, I suppose.
Go on! I don't need some uppity tourist making demands. Go somewhere else if you don't like my wares. Go on, get!
If you insist, I will. You're not the only merchant around.
That's where you're wrong, Missy. Far as I know, this is the only shop in the desert. There was one other fella, but he couldn't cut it. Lost all his drive to sell out here. When that happens, well, that's the same as death to a salesman.
So? What made him give up?
Damn fool. He bet his dreams on the desert, that's what. Poor old Ramon. He thought he'd make a real name for himself out here, selling to adventurers. But in the end, he lost sight of his dream and his business.
Sounds good for you, though he doesn't seem like he was much of a rival anyway.
Shut it! You don't know the first thing about him!
Didn't mean to offend you. What's there to get so worked up about anyway?
Nothing. Not a damn thing. It's just like you say. He was nothing at all. It's not like he'd ever been a threat to my business anyway. No, not Ramon. I'm done talking about him. If you want to know more, ask him yourself. You'll find him near that old camp in the giant sandbox.
He was a pretty strange guy, wasn't he? But if he's really the only merchant around like he says, then I guess you'll have to count on him for help. Unless, of course, you want to find out for yourself about that Ramon fellow. The buildings here are ancient structures from another age. I don't know whether to call this a town or a fortress, but it's definitely unique.
I'd say definitely criminal is closer. At least there's not much of a dress code, other than looking like a thief. What are you doing?
Nothing much, just gilling my sputs for hall to ear. Dutter do youing, wum-ass.
Hope, can you interpret this for me?
It seems to me like it's some kind of code or cipher, but I don't have enough data yet to break it.
Can't you speak normally?
Show nit. Of course I can. Look, I don't have any info about any treasure if that's what you're looking for. I've got no interest in it. Buffet to you.
Doesn't seem like many people choose to live out here unless they're after treasure. So, what's your story?
Meave be Lee. The world's going to end soon anyway, right? If that's the case, what's the point in having dreams or working hard?
So sitting around waiting for the end was the best idea you could come up with. Nice way to spend your last days.
Well, yeah, it's boring, but nothing I do now makes any sort of difference anyway, so why bother? No matter how much I might unravel mysteries of the past, none of these bandits care. They don't even listen to my findings. Troen even nice to understand.
I get that it's hard to stay motivated when no one appreciates what you do.
I'd say so. If you get it, why are you giving me a hard time? Just leave me alone. I'm done with all of it. I ditched all my equipment in the desert. If you find any of my old things, they're yours. Take them away with you.
I think I may just do that. They deserve better than getting tossed aside by some sulking, spoiled kid.
Fake them 10.
It's a big desert, you know. Do you really expect to find his things out there in the middle of nowhere?
I'd better be able to. After running my mouth like that.
Where'd you come from? You're not one of those sneaks from the Order, are you?
Well, would it really matter if I were?
No. I'm not gonna tell you a thing either way, so you might as well move on.
Guess I should have known better than to ask some lowly grunt. You're no help to me. Where's the boss?
If you think you're gonna get to meet our boss, you'd better learn to ask nicely.
Did I hurt your feelings? Excuse me, but would you do me the great honor of showing me the way to your boss? Please.
I don't have no help to spare for strangers. Find the boss yourself.
So you're the new seed hunter, huh? The job isn't easy, let me tell you. I've warned you. But, seeing you're out here in the land of outlaws and bandits, I'm guessing you can hold your own. Once you've got your hands on some soul seeds, track one of us down. We pay good money for them, don't you worry. And then we sell them to rich folks to make a huge profit. It's win-win. So, are you interested in hearing a story I have for you? Everyone knows that in this world, new life isn't born anymore. But chaos gives birth to monsters, and plants and animals still flourish. It's just mankind that has stopped reproducing. We're the only ones kicked out of the circle of life. Now, there was a scientist couple who suddenly got it into their heads to change the world's natural ways. They figured they could use the soul seeds to create new human life. Their experiment was a rather simple one. They filled a jar with amniotic fluid and tried to make a baby. Well, a homunculus to be exact. What were they thinking, huh? They managed to create life, but it wasn't anything human, not even close. The monstrosity killed the man. The woman managed to survive, but just barely. They went against God and his ways, and that was their punishment, plain and simple. You can find the woman in these parts sometimes. She's no scientist anymore, though. I think her name was Mal, or something like that.